Hello, Cheryl. How are you
Hi, how are
doing?
you, Yasa? I'm doing good.
Doing good. How's the MCO been treating you so far?
Oh, it's been busy, busy, busy. I think all kinds of ideas coming up and just waiting to, kind of do the next thing. It's
Okay,
been quite
okay.
busy.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of friends have been telling me that during this MCO, it's actually they have a busier life right now than before MCO.
I
Right?
completely agree, right? Because
Why?
there's more.
Why? Why is
Sorry,
that happening? Why was
I
that?
for me, I'm an educator at Inti International University, so we still have our normal classes. So if I have a class from 10 to 12, I still have a class from 10 to 12. So my classes and all this are still going on. And as you know, if you're doing online classes, there's a lot that you actually need to do beyond that. So many things that you need to prepare to ensure that everything is all right, and you must have backup plans in case connection goes a bit cuckoo. So there's a lot of preparation as well. And us being in this whole MCO, you also want to kind of give back. And I try to do that through Lift as You Rise and the Me series. So trying to give back to people what we can through conversations, so just like what you are doing and Kushbu and a lot of others. Yeah.
Okay, I definitely want to hear more about that as we go along, right? So, for friends, all the friends here who are here on the show, Conversations That Matter, kindly, just drop by your hi or hello. There is a small lag of time, so you can. By the time you say this, we will be talking about some other things. Then we will see it, and then we will say hello back to you again, right? So all the friends of Cheryl, just come in and just say hi, send your love, your hugs to her, so that she knows you are around, right? Okay. So let me just introduce Cheryl a little bit. Cheryl is actually the founder of Live to Rise. All right. Maybe after this, you just share with us a little bit about what is Live to Rise. I think I can see you are doing some amazing work there. And she's also an educator in Inti University. Am I right?
Yes, I am.
Okay, she's one of them who's from the education side, but she's been very active in LinkedIn. I always see her posts. She's sharing a lot of things, sharing about education, and also networking with a lot of LinkedIn folk out there, and a lot of LinkedIn people actually know Cheryl very much, very closely. She's very actively participates in a lot of the community work. All right. So Cheryl, would you be able to just share a little bit about what is Live to Rise? My
Lift as You Rise.
Live as you rise. Yeah. Can you share a little
Okay.
bit about that?
Lift as You Rise is actually a community-based platform. It's
Okay.
completely run by volunteers, so
Okay.
it's very ad hoc. So we're not always on Lift as You Rise. Hi, Joanne. So what we are currently doing is that we try to work on projects that help empower you to actually
Okay.
empower other communities. So we've worked with
Hmm.
mentally challenged kids. We've worked with Orang Asli Negeri Sembilan. We've worked with young adults, which is the recent thing that we did in February, which is the Lighthouse series. In the
Okay.
Lighthouse project, what we do is a little conference where we develop young adults.
Okay.
And the most recent, of course, is myself and Yi. We actually come up with something called the Me series. So that is on conversations that discuss about current affairs, but most importantly, to help us kind of develop personally and also professionally. Sometimes our critical thinking mind, we are always in a bubble in our own space. So the whole idea is to kind of break us out from that bubble, so we think beyond
Ah,
ourselves and beyond our own platforms. Yeah.
okay. It's amazing work you're doing actually in these platforms. I think I've been following what you're doing. You're one of the educators who shout out a lot about things, the current ongoings, what's happening and all. So it's nice to see that. Okay, so I understand you're also doing a lot of programs in Inti, right, for the students, and together with your other lecturers and all.
Yes,
Would you
yes.
be able to share some of them?
Yeah, sure. At Inti International University, as well as all the other Inti campuses, we are very strong with our employer projects. So, employer projects is like, for example, say your company, right? CED, right? So, what we do is we work with your company to solve a particular issue or problem that you have. So, I'll just give you an example. I like to work specifically with non-government organizations, those who
Okay.
really need the help. So, I've worked with North South Initiative, NSI. So,
Yep.
what my students and I did for this employer project is we help manage their social media. So to bring up their social media, and they were very new with something like this. And if you notice, NGOs, they don't really have much resources, not enough
Yes.
staff. Probably
Yep.
the entire NGO, which looks so big, who goes to Geneva for conferences, has three people. And that is
Oh,
including the founders. Yeah, so they don't have sound engineers, they don't have tech people, they don't have specialized social media people, so it makes it very hard for them. So what my students did is analyze that they have this issue, and an entire class, about 40, 50 students, some of them you probably see on LinkedIn. Okay, they actually came up with a strategy. How can they use social media in the most easiest way long after we leave them? Because yes, we'll be updating for them and teaching them how to do it for 1 month, right? But what after that, right? What's going to happen? So things like maybe editing little posters using Canva, those things are really hard for if they don't have the time, right? Because NGOs, like when you talk about social justice, they don't have time to play around with posters. They want
yes,
to go.
yes.
So we created a system where it makes it easy for them to actually go ahead and do what they need to do on the ground, but at the same time use these makeshift templates and things like that they can just kind of input in very easily, just change the title, change the topic. And then we had photographers come in, videographers, all these are students, and they are
Wow.
amazing to see what they can do. So they actually fuel the entire project very well. They manage everything. They even came up with a little guidebook for the
Wow.
director, teaching him like what he should do physically as well as online, right? How do you manage it from the PR aspect? So I think it's an amazing way for students to actually learn how to build themselves up, because they're not working for the lecturer anymore. It becomes serious, right? You're working for an
Yeah.
actual employer. So
Yeah.
in UT, we've worked with many people before, right? This is just an NGO. We've worked with DG. One of my colleagues, Hayati, works with DG. Xiao San Yi, that is on LinkedIn with me most of the time. She works with Allianz as well on one of their campaigns. So we've worked with many different brands as well, and we try to reach out. That's I think one of the strengths of INTI, our employer projects. When you talk about employability, all of our students generally have all done an employer project before, and they've worked for an actual employer within that confine of a project, and a lot of them have been successful. And this started not now. This was like almost 10 years ago when I started in Inti Subang. We used to do employer projects as well for even Shell, yeah.
Wow. I mean, that's really good for the students. I think they can learn a lot of things working with real life. No
Employer.
amount of theory can touch that, right?
Yes, definitely.
Wow. Okay. I'm sure some of your students are actually watching the show now. I can see Joanne there, right?
Okay.
Yeah. So today you have been actually doing a lot of implementing a lot of online trainings, online coaching for your students and all.
Yes.
And as I'm following your work, I also noticed that you use a lot of different platforms. They are
Yes.
fun. One of the challenges a lot of trainers and teachers are facing is uh, a lot of times the coaching is like just using Zoom or Google Hangout, but how to make it more interactive, more fun, like as if it's almost like physically they are there. How can the fun element come in? So and what else can be done? So today we are here with Cheryl, who's going to share a lot of actual work she has been doing with her students here for the benefit of all of us to to share what can be done with all the multiple different platforms out there. Cheryl, over to you.
Okay, so there are actually quite a huge number, as I was telling Diasa earlier when we were discussing, of things you can actually do online to make your sessions interactive, right? But I think the best way for us to learn is not to just say like let's learn and I tell it to you. I think the best way is actually to learn it through practice. So let's do a simple activity if all of you don't mind.
Yeah.
Before that, I just want to say hi to Dato Alia and also Ashrina Perry. Hi, hi, guys.
Okay, okay, you saw them
Thanks for
there.
joining us. So
Dato
I
Alia,
hope
please don't say that I didn't mention your name, okay?
so. If you can, all of you, I mean, y'all can also join us as well, even though we can't see you. Maybe you can type it out. All right. And Viasa, I want you to do it, of course. Okay. So
Sure,
if you do
sure.
have a piece of paper, all right,
Piece
and
of
a pen.
paper, okay. All right.
Okay.
Give me a
Because I'm a
pen.
lecturer, obviously I have a marker pen. Quite normal.
Okay, Cikgu.
I want you to take a piece of paper and I want you to write down 5 digits.
Okay.
Okay, just five
Five
digit.
numbers.
Yes, five numbers. It can be a single or double number is fine. Okay, but
Okay.
most importantly, I want you to focus that these numbers represent your life as well as your experiences.
Hmm.
Okay, and try to move away from your birthday. Please don't use your account number and things like that. Yeah, we don't want any security issues.
Oh man. Okay. Okay.
Okay, so just come up with the five numbers and
Okay. Two, and okay.
okay, and this is for audience as well, right? If you're back home, take out a piece of paper or you can even write it on your phone. Come up with those numbers that relate to your life and your experiences, and maybe you can also post it on the chat. Maybe Vyasa can pick up some of it later on, but let's
Okay.
test Vyasa first.
All right.
Hi, Krishnamurti. Okay, Vyasa, you want to show us your number?
Okay. Yes. So I'll show it through the paper, right? Let me see
Yes.
whether you can see this or not. Can you see it?
5, 14, 23, 7, and 73.
Yeah.
Can everyone see that? 5, 14, 23, 7, and 73. Can anyone guess what 5 is? You can put the paper down for a while, Vyasa.
Okay. All right.
Maybe you can type it in the comment your number so they can all
Okay. Yeah. I see
or the
Joanne
banner, your
type
banner.
it already.
Yeah.
5, 14, 23. Yeah, friends here, you can always type out your numbers so that Cheryl's going to do some astrology numbers on you after this. No, no, no. I'm just kidding. It's just a game, okay? Okay. I've got my numbers, and, friends, just drop in your numbers here so that, we can play a game. This is part of the actual interactive stuff that Cheryl is actually going to show about.
Okay, okay. So your numbers again are 5, 23.
5, 14, 23,
Mhm.
7, and 73.
Okay. So
Yeah.
anyone want to guess from the audience what does 5 stand for Biasa? What do you all think it stands for? Probably not his age.
Okay.
Could it be his years on LinkedIn actively? I don't know. What do you guys think? What are some
Well,
answers that we're getting? I wonder.
I see Joanne has put in some numbers here. So 21, 8, 18, 28, and 16.
21,
Is
8,
that
18, and 16.
yeah, 21, 8, 18, 28, and 16. That's
Okay.
Joanne's number.
Let's get Vyasa to demonstrate to us why we're doing this, and I'll explain to you as we go along and get a few people from the audience, right? So let's look at
Okay.
Vyasa's number first.
All right.
Vyasa, can you explain to us what a
Okay.
five is? Has anyone had any guesses so far?
5
Any?
is, shall I say it now?
Yeah, yeah, sure.
Okay, so 5 is the date of my birthday. Is a fifth plus fifth, and 14 and 23. 14 is the day I got engaged. Okay, 14th,
Your
and
wife will be very pleased with you.
I hope she's listening in.
Hi, Farida, brownie points, extra
I
brownie
got
points.
some extra brownie points. I'm going to see a big smile after this. And then 23rd, because my lucky numbers tend to be around is 5. Okay, so it's a lot of numbers have been 5. And then 7, I just randomly wrote this number just now because I couldn't think of anything just now. And then
Okay.
73 is my year of I was born.
Ah, now we know how old he is. We've got
Yes.
Ashina's number as well, which is 5, 14, 10, 6, and 9. Okay, that's great. So, okay, the whole point of this activity, right, is for us to
Yeah.
see what we share in common with other participants. So let's look at another number, right? Let's look at do we
Joanne.
have Joanne's number, right? So Joanne's number is first is 21. What do you guys think 21 is?
Her age, maybe.
Maybe, yeah, yeah. Is it her age? It is.
Joanne, you got to answer there, Joanne, if you're listening in.
Is it Joanne's age? What about 8? 8.
And then, okay, we're all waiting for Joanne. You can also check with Ashwina's one. Ashwina has put in some numbers. Wow, her numbers are very close to mine.
5,
5,
14,
14.
10, 6, and 9. So I wonder if the I don't think the 14 matches with Viasa's engagement date. I don't think I'm engaged yet. So I'm curious to know what is the 14 standing for? What is the 14 standing for in Ashwina's number? But she also has, is it 5? 5 as well. What is 5? I want 21 is your age, Joanne. Okay, all right. So
Okay,
how
so
many
I
people
guessed
here
it
have
correct.
21? Okay. So
And then
okay.
Joanne's got back again. Anything with number 8 is my lucky number, okay?
All right. All
And
right.
then 16 is my best friend's birthday date, okay?
That's cool.
And then let's go back to Ashwina. You have LinkedIn Live on also, right? Cheryl there? I think you have
No.
it on because you're seeing it there, right? Oh, you're seeing it in the chat. Okay. Got it, got
Yeah,
it, got it.
in the chat. Anand has been very helpful.
Yeah, and then cool stuff there. And then thanks a lot. Anand is the sound engineer who's doing a lot of stuff at the back room.
Okay, so why are we doing all this numbering, right? Okay,
Yeah,
so when you're doing a training or when you're doing an online class, especially if it's with a new batch of students, like I'm
yeah,
very lucky, right?
yeah,
Tracy Leong, Ashwina, those are students that I've taught since diploma, so I know them very well. But hi, honey. So, but
yeah,
if you talk about trainings, right? Most of the time, you only get one chance to do a training with a group of people, and then that's
yes,
it, right? So the
yes,
impression is very important, as well as that bonding. You want your participants to kind of bond and have good
yeah,
chemistry with each other. So the reason
yeah,
for doing this number game is so that everyone kind of gets to participate instead of just listening to you. They kind of get to participate with each other and identify what is the similarities as well as the differences between them. So you go like,
yeah,
wow, Vyasa, his date is 14. Oh, that's so close to mine. Mine is
okay,
maybe the 12. You get what I mean? Or maybe
yeah,
you find like maybe Vyasa and you share the same birthday. So you find some sort of similarity and you kind of start building that connection. But of
right,
course, like we are having this live session, so I can't really see your numbers. I can only see through chat. So
yes,
what if you want it to be a bit more interactive, right? So we can kind
right,
of play around with different platforms. So
right,
maybe Vyasa will share with you right now a link to uh, a site that I've given him so
okay.
that you can actually see it.
Which one
And
is that, Cheryl?
Padlet,
Play Padlet,
the
okay,
Padlet, yeah,
right. Padlet.com. Okay, this is the
yes.
first time I'm hearing this also today. For all our friends here, this is the first time I'm hearing all these platforms. But I found it quite fun, lah. Okay.
Okay, so I'm going to share my screen. So as we share this site with you, I want the rest of you maybe to add your numbers or tell me how you feel about this activity so far. So the beauty of using Padlet is that you can actually put a meme. You can actually search for Google image and add pictures, memes. You can add words. It depends on what you want, right? You can even add an audio note. You can record an audio note. So there's so
Right.
many things you can do. I
Wow.
just want to share with you, Padlet,
Okay. Yeah.
so that you can see it on the screen as he sends it to you. Just give me a minute. Okay, I'm just going to click it. Can you all see this?
Okay, just a minute. Let me just get it up. Yeah.
Okay, so far there's only mine. So for those of you who are logged in right now, please go to the link that I believe Vyasa has shared, and please add. You can see at the right the right hand side bottom corner, you will
Okay.
see a plus sign. When you click that plus sign, you can actually add on more notes to this.
Okay. Just give a minute, Cheryl,
Sure,
while
sure.
Anand helps to share the link to Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. Just give a minute. Yeah.
Definitely, no problem.
Uh,
So anyway, while we're waiting, right? So
Yes.
the whole idea of using Padlet, right? The beauty of it, I find, is that if you're doing a training,
Right.
and just say, for example, Yasa is very lucky. He has Anand by his side, right, to kind of help him
Yeah.
out and do things. But most
Right.
of the time when I do the Me series, I'm on my own, okay? Or if I do any sessions, most of the time I have to really focus on what's being said by the guest, right? And it's very
Yeah.
hard to kind of do two things at once. And if
Right.
you want to monitor the chat, I think a lot of people who do live sessions can understand where I'm coming from,
Yeah.
that it's hard to monitor who is saying what. So this way, if you put it on Padlet, then it's
Right.
very easy. Like I can see, oh, this is Tracy's number. So as they
Right.
add it, for me to look and monitor, it'll be
Right.
really, really great. It's also awesome to use it for, say, brainstorming sessions. So, say for
Mm.
example, I'm just going to add another something. Let's see. Maybe I look at images. Maybe I want to put a happy image here.
Okay.
So I just have to search for it. Can you see that I'm searching for it on the right hand side?
Yes. Yes. I can see that. Yeah.
So I just click, okay, let me just do it again very
Okay.
slowly. You see
Okay.
more, okay, or I can just click this Google button here.
Okay.
After I press the plus sign,
Mm-hmm.
look for images, or I can look for videos or GIFs. So just
Okay.
say I look for happy and I
Okay.
click.
Okay.
So say for example, I click that,
Right.
you see I can just add a happy.
Oh yeah, it's like a meme there.
Yes, this is
Okay.
a gift. Okay, this is how I feel.
GIF.
All right,
Okay.
I'm
Okay.
super excited, right? Oh
Hmm.
wow, 000. It'll be very interesting to know what the 00 means. If it had been a nine at the end, I would wonder whether it's like a bond agent or what.
It means someone is actually writing in there, right?
Yes, yes, you can see someone writing in.
Okay.
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 So we have like Tracy's number, or say for example, maybe if you want to do something different, right? It's not just the
Mm.
number game. Say you
Mm.
want to get them to brainstorm an idea, right? Or we're
Right.
talking about okay, work from home or
Mm.
study from home. How are you
Mm.
guys feeling about this study from home? Can you post your feelings? How do you feel about it? You can use an emoticon, you can use a GIF, you can use a meme, right? Show me how you feel. So maybe we can get, we have Ashwina, we have Dato here, we have Fariza, right? So maybe you guys can add and put a GIF or meme or whatever that works for you, that you feel can help express yourself on this
Okay.
platform. Yeah. So the whole idea is we want people to be able to interact and feel, excited about that whole session that you are running. And they feel like they are part of it. And it's also easier from the technical point of view for you to kind of understand what's going on.
Right. Right. It's also like a fun way of chatting and then explaining things with graphics and everything, right?
Yes, yes,
Mm.
definitely, definitely. And it's a bit of a warm up as well. Okay, like the number game is a bit of a warm up because none of us know each other. Okay, like
Right.
me, I'm very lucky. Some of them I know. All right,
Right.
but sometimes we go into trainings where we've never met anyone before. So you're kind of
Okay.
like indirectly breaking the ice,
Right.
and people are sharing a lot of things they don't realize is actually very personal if you think
Right.
about
Right.
it,
Right.
right?
Right.
If not, there's no way Vyasa's going to share with us his date that he
Yes.
got engaged. But this kind of breaks that ice, it breaks that barrier that we can actually use. Okay, so that's
Okay.
just an example of what we can do on a
Okay. Just
simpler
just a
note.
minute, right? Just a minute,
Yeah,
right?
sure.
So Hani has asked, she's logged in Padlet. Do I search for
Okay.
you? So she needs to actually get the actual link, right?
Yes, yes, just
She needs to
click on
get
the
the
link. Immediately you'll be able to see
okay.
the I will
Let
just
me just
share
post
the
the actual link here so that uh, Honey, I hope you can see this. Padlet.com and then as this link there lah. And then
yes,
can you
yes.
help to post it on my personal Facebook also, Anand? Thank you very much.
Okay. So for example, if you see mine, and
Yeah.
can you see I'm moving it around?
Yes.
So you can actually move things around.
Okay.
Okay. Like say for example, there's many more right at the bottom of the screen. I might
Yes.
want to move certain things around.
Okay. All right. All right.
I can also kind of change the layout or how I want it to look like. Okay, I can change the settings here. I can change the wallpaper maybe. Maybe I'm bored of this picture, I can change it into something completely different, like maybe
Mhm.
I want to go to outer space. uh, so you can play around with this kind of thing.
Okay.
All right,
Got
so
it.
there are a
So
lot of
actually, like, when it comes to a group decision making or something like that, you can actually just quickly get the who's in, who's not in, uh, who is like against, and all those things, right? And why a lot of things can be done here with this. Just
yeah,
this.
it's an excellent tool for brainstorming, to be very honest, because you can get people to kind of tell you how they feel,
Mm-hmm.
and it can be expressed through many different ways. So
Mm-hmm.
if I click on the one that I created earlier, or if I
Right.
just say want to come up with a new post, right? So if you see
Right.
here, if I click here, you
Mm-hmm.
can search for Google Images. Can you see that? The Google sign that I'm on? Google search
Yes.
images.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
You can snap a photo. Like someone might say, guys, okay, like I did a training with Indy International University Nilai staff, right? And I was doing
Okay.
working from home, how to
Right.
reduce or cope with the stress. So I might
Right.
say, okay, give me a picture of where you're at right now. So they can
Okay.
snap a photo and show me. So it really helps with a lot of interaction. You can
Okay.
show a short clip. You can record voice, audio, maybe. You can record your screen. You can draw. You can place, add a location to where you're at. Say, for example, we want to do another activity right at the beginning of the
Mm-hmm.
session. I want to say,
Mm-hmm.
hey guys, can you tell me where you're coming from? So then you can even add your location.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, I wanted to see that one. Yeah, that one would be quite interesting, right? To see their
Yeah.
physical
Yeah.
locations, where they are, and
You
all
can
in the
see
map.
where they're at.
Okay.
So you can see the satellite location to where you're at. All right. So it really depends on what you really want to do. There's so many options to how you can use a Padlet. But let me be very clear with you that it's not the tool really, it's how you as a facilitator actually uses this tool that makes
Okay.
it interesting or not. So the same activity I talked about, what's your number, right? So I can either show it via uh, this
Paper.
paper, like it's
Yeah.
physical.
Yeah.
So it
Yeah.
really depends on what kind of trainer you are and what kind of audience you have. So if you have audience that prefer more physical stuff, like maybe you're not so good at doing all this digital stuff, you might want to get them to feel comfortable, right? And more physical. Why not use pen and paper? That's fine as well, right? You can also use pen paper and ask them to write their number, like, what's your favorite number, and then you just get them to show you, right?
Right.
So
Okay.
there's so many ways to do the same activity, whether you want to go digital, so you can still be physical while we're digital as well. There's so many ways to do that. It's just another medium. Okay, let's go back to the board.
Okay. Got it.
Okay, so any questions about this Padlet?
So, friends, if you have any questions, again, drop in the comment section. And if you are on Padlet already, you can also drop your comments on Padlet if you like.
Yeah, you can definitely.
Okay.
Okay, so if there's nothing else, then maybe we can move on to other things as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Sure.
Yeah. So before we go into that, so that's the first technology I want to introduce to you. Some people
Padlet.
are already using it, but maybe you didn't know there are a lot of other features as well. Okay.
Yeah.
Some of you have never used it before. I implore you to try. It
I'm
can
one
be
of them.
quite fun. Sorry?
I'm one of them.
You're one of them. That's great. And please let me know how it went, right? What was the experience of using Padlet?
Oh,
Okay. And
yeah.
it's really good for those of us who have no money and want to save as much as we can, especially during MCO, right? So if you're using certain features of video conferencing and you don't have certain tools,
Right.
that maybe you can't use certain tools, you can actually use these external third party sites to actually help you have that same level of interactivity. Okay, you're
Okay.
not confined to certain types only. All
Right.
right. Okay, so another thing we can do actually is something very very simple. We can actually talk about the most simple thing to do when you want to connect before you start giving your content, right? So I was talking to Biasa about this earlier, right? So this is also something very physical. We call it body pose. Okay,
Okay.
so when you talk about body pose, we usually use it in presentation skills, right? So if you want
Yeah.
to get your participants to be active with you, you want them to kind of move, right? So
Mhm.
maybe I want to say, if everyone here is having fun, do this. Okay,
Right.
like two
Okay.
hands, do this. Or maybe I can say, if everyone can hear me, right? Something very basic, put where's my screen? Thumbs up, for
Yeah,
example,
this
right?
is quite a normal common thing. We
Yes,
get
very common.
disorientated with the left and right.
Yes, yes. So
Okay.
there's also another game we can do. I don't know whether you want to do it right now because we didn't discuss it earlier, but
Okay, yeah, just go ahead.
this
Just shoot.
yes, you have
Okay.
to pay attention. Okay, I'm going to tell you a story.
Okay.
Okay, so all you need to do is based on the words you hear, you
Mm-hmm.
need to point to the right or point to the left, right or
Okay.
left.
Okay.
Okay,
The
so I'm
only
going to
thing
tell you.
in camera is we just
Sorry,
got it. Yeah,
you just
Johan
have to
always said,
point.
just do it.
Yes, yes.
Johan, you're
So
getting get me into trouble. Yeah. Okay.
sorry, I have to leave this. I cannot show you everything, then it's just no excitement to it. So
Okay.
this is, I think, an activity that you can do to just kind of get people, feeling more comfortable. It can be done in any kind of training. Okay.
Okay.
So I'm
Okay.
going to just tell you the story and we'll see how Vyasa does it and you tell me how well he's doing it. Yeah.
Okay. Your students are
So
telling it's cool.
what level
Okay.
you want me to go? Slow?
Uh,
You want me to go slow,
please, slow,
medium,
please. I'm a
advanced?
bit slow when on camera. Okay.
Okay. So today, I would like to tell you a story about Mr. and Mrs. Wright.
Mr. and Mrs. Right. Okay. Right.
Yes.
This
Okay.
side.
Ready?
This
Let's
side.
just
This is
warm up.
right. Am I right? Am I
No,
straight
right
or left?
way.
This way.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Okay. Got it so far?
Got it.
Okay. Everyone, watch Vyasa carefully. Yeah. And please, actually, if everyone can take part, it would be great as well. Even though we can't see you, it'll be quite fun. Okay. So
Okay.
I'll start again. I'd like to tell you a story about Mr. and Mrs. Wright. One evening, they were baking cookies, and Mrs. Wright suddenly said, "Oh no, there's no flour left. You will need to go out to the store right now." "I can't believe you forgot to check the pantry," grumbled Mr. Wright. "It will only take 20 minutes if you come right back. Go to the corner of 1st and 2nd Streets and turn left at the stop sign, then go to 43rd Street and turn right. The shop will be on your left," declared Mrs. Wright as her husband left the house. Mr. Wright found the store and asked the assistant where he could find the flour. The assistant pointed and said, "Go to aisle 4 and turn left. The flour and sugar will be on your left." Mr. Wright made his purchase and walked right out the door. He turned left,
Oh
but he
no.
couldn't remember where he had left his car. Are you following so far? He finally found the right car. He opened the boot and put the flour right inside. Eventually, a very, very Mr. Wright found his way home. Mrs. Wright had been waiting impatiently. "Mr. Wright, I thought you would be right back," she said. "I left all the cookie ingredients on the kitchen counter, do you know? And the cats got into the milk. You'll just have to go right back to the shop again." Mr. Wright sighed. He had no energy left. "I'm going right to bed," he said, and left Mrs. Wright standing in the kitchen all alone.
Ha, ha, ha.
How was that?
Oh, I had to really focus, and that's going slow, right?
Yes, that's going
Right.
very okay. And I didn't even add I don't know whether you were doing the left as well, but you could add the right and the left, the right and the left. Okay. So, how did y'all find that activity?
Yeah. So I'm hearing some comments here. It was fun. Right. Join stay.
Yes.
Honey,
Okay.
thank you very much, honey. Sangita, you can add this as part of your, exercise you always do in your talks. And then Joante, yeah, it's fun.
So the whole idea of doing this, actually indirectly I've taught you about our second tech that I think is really, really crucial, right? So there's another site that I actually got this from. I actually learned this from someone. And I think one thing great about being an educator is your willingness to be learning from other people, right? I don't know everything, but
Yeah.
I take the opportunity to keep on learning. And
Yeah.
YouTube is an amazing platform, and that's where I found this guy. You can add him on LinkedIn as well. His name is Mark Collard. Okay, I will
Mark
just type
Collard.
his
Okay,
name
let me just write
here.
it down itself so that everyone can follow this
Yeah,
person.
Mark
What's the name again?
Collard.
MARK.
RKCOLLARD. I've already typed
Okay.
it out in the chat
Okay.
there.
Got it. Got it. I'm going to
Okay,
show
got
this.
that?
Mark Collard, right?
Yes, Mark Collard. You can add him. He is actually the main guy when it comes to this website, which I want to introduce to you today, called Playmio.
Mm. Okay.
Okay,
Play me. Let me just write down this. So Mark Collard, right? So he's also available in YouTube, isn't it?
LinkedIn. He's on LinkedIn and he does a
LinkedIn.
lot of webinars. Yes, to kind of introduce what this Playmio is all about. So
Okay.
his Playmio website is about online resources for icebreakers and group games,
Wow.
which
Okay.
is
That's
amazing.
superb. Yeah. Superb.
It's
Definitely important for
amazing.
us at this time.
You can follow him on LinkedIn as well. I just added him
LinkedIn,
recently.
huh?
All right.
Okay.
Yes, yes. And I've communicated with him as well, talking to him that we'll talk about it as well on the show today.
All right.
Right.
All right.
And I think Playmio is an amazing way for you to find ideas. And the first game that I play, what's your number, right? Identifying your number is also from Mark's list on Playmio. So of course, as usual, you have the paid and the non-paid version. But even the not paid version is really good. But I think for trainers, you might want to look into actually subscribing to their paid plan, because the resources that you can get is very practical, and it's not something that you hear about that is okay, but it can really work very well. But of course, as a facilitator, I think it's important. If I just read that story like, hi guys, today Mr. Right walked to the right and he went to the shop, and on the left he saw a shop, uh, his favorite, people also fall asleep, right?
Yeah.
So it's not just about the tools that you have, but also what you can do with it, right?
Mm.
So I think that is also something that you can implement into your daily trainings. It doesn't matter whether you're a lecturer or not, but you can also use, like, we've gone through body polls, we've gone through the use of pen and paper.
Mm-hmm.
And another thing we can actually also use is trying to get people to participate and engage, which is coming to the third technology that I want to introduce to all of you. Okay,
Okay.
so I think my students are quite familiar with this technology. We've used it before in class. Okay, we
Okay.
haven't done it in a long time, I have to say, but we have used it in the past. And yes, we need to learn, definitely, Sangeeta. I completely agree. So there's one more thing I want to play with y'all, if y'all don't mind.
Okay.
Okay.
Just before that, right, Cheryl? Just before that, right?
Yes.
Just say hello to all the gang here who has come and said hello. All right. So we have
Hi.
Joanne, we have Reka,
Hi, Reka. Good afternoon. I hope you're enjoying the show so far.
and then we have Honey, and
Honey,
then
honey.
of
My
course we have
lovely honey.
Anand,
Anand, thank you so much, Anand. It's so
and then we have
helpful.
Johan. Johan is actually running a kids speaking
Yes,
lesson. Okay,
I
kids
know.
podcast.
One of my ex students, Kenny, works with him very actively, doing all
Yeah,
this
right.
YouTube thing, and I think it's amazing. I've
Yes, Johan.
always looked up to Johan, but I've never really met him before. So
You can
it's
see him
amazing.
soon.
That's great. That's great.
Okay,
Hi,
so
Johan.
we have,
I hope you're doing well. I
and
like
then
what
we
you
have
do in public
our good
speaking.
friend Sangita.
Aduh, biasa. What did you do, biasa?
No, no, it was the show. She also does this thing, the game always when she gives her talks, and
Yes.
it's very engaging, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then totally okay. Then on LinkedIn we have Ashwina, we have uh, Samukan, and then we have Tracy.
Hi, Shrina, Tracy. Nice to see you guys here.
Okay,
ET
cool. So
support.
let's go back to our thing here. So we have
Okay.
Flavia, right? So your
Yeah,
game, right?
please check out the Playmio. It's, I guess, the
Okay.
banner right there.
Yes.
It's
Yeah.
really an amazing resource, and it's very easy to learn. It's just adding your personality to the activity. Then it gets really, really done really, really well. Hi, Santa Kumaran. Hi. Okay, so one more thing I want to introduce to you all, the last technology. To be honest, there's so many,
Right.
so
Right.
many,
Right.
but just the few that can actually start you off. And this is really used a lot in Inti. We even have a training for Kahoot run by our Inti online team. I have to give shout outs to Azlina. She's the first few people that taught me how to use this particular technology. So I'm going to share with you all the link.
Kahoot,
Okay.
right? Got it.
Kahoot.it. You have
Yeah.
that?
Kahoot.it. Yeah.
Okay.
Got it.
Got it? So can you see that on the screen? Oh, not yet. Let me
You want me to
stop
screen share
it.
it? Okay. We got it.
Just
Oh,
uh,
this is
just let me share that.
pen. Sure thing. Wow, the music is loud.
Just give me a minute.
Okay. Take your time. Honey loves Kahoot. Okay. Yes.
Okay, I've decreased the volume. Sorry about that. And I want to share with you the screen.
Yeah. Cheryl, there's a little bit of comment just to
Okay, can you
reduce
see the
the
number?
noise a little bit. Okay. Got it. Okay. So we got to
Okay,
go
can
into
you see the number?
yes.
Okay, I'm just gonna off the volume a little because a little too loud, you said, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Also, the
So
number
if you
is
can
eight
see the
seven.
number, yeah, please just go into that link.
Okay.
All right. So use the pin number to join into that link that they just gave you, which is www.kahoot.it.
Okay.
Okay. So while you're waiting, I'm sure some of you have used Kahoot before. It's actually a very, very popular app. Okay. It adds a lot of fun to what you're doing. It makes it more exciting. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah. Still can. We are still.
So we've started.
Okay. But mine is hanging a little bit, so I'm just going to just watch this for now. So it's a game.
Yes, it's a game.
Wow.
Okay.
Sangeeta is already in Kahoot. Okay.
So we have voice hawk, joyful camel, and aquatic possum. Very interesting names.
What is the name of Vyasa's guest today? All the familiar names. Cheryl Witha.
If you don't know my name, we have a problem, I tell you. It's very simple questions, lah. It's nothing very serious.
Okay. What's the best way to promote? Yeah. Sangeeta said, I can't see the questions. What is the code number again? Oh, okay. 87. Sangeeta, you got to go to this again. 879059. Okay. You need to add that into the code if you haven't. Mine was hanging a little bit. Ah, okay.
Okay, we have two more questions. This is very
Okay.
easy.
True, false. What's the question?
Wow, voice
Oh,
hawk is I wonder who
Who's
is the
wise?
wise.
Okay.
Okay, so pretty much the idea is just to have a bit of fun. It's
Okay.
not for some. It's not like for some major. You can't use it like really to kind of identify. It's just like yes or no questions, true or
Right.
false. Very very basic things. You can
Right.
also add images into Kahoot. All right. You can add videos, things like that. But I think there was a question from someone earlier, right?
Okay. You know
About
who's wise hog?
who?
It's Sangita.
Wow, very wise indeed. So
Oh
did
yeah.
y'all notice when some of you join, you got like different names? Okay. So what you can do is a name generator. Oh, Anand, now we have you won, is it? We can actually use different names because sometimes you're worried. Like sometimes when I go and deal with students, young students, they put cheeky names. So
Right.
to avoid some cheeky funny names, you can actually have this generator. So it creates all these exciting new kind of names. Yeah, it creates this exciting yeah, we should do one more.
Yes. Some of them couldn't join. Okay. Okay. Never mind. It's okay.
I want to battle you.
Anand wants to battle me. Okay. Battle you, I think.
I think that the problem
Johan said, I got camel. Johan is the camel. Johan Oi.
is it.
Yeah.
Yeah, the name generator is actually very cool. I think there was a question or comment from Bistari. I'm not sure the
Yeah.
full name about what other
Maybe.
platforms can be used. Yeah, Ganapati. I will share with you later. I have an entire list of names, and maybe later on, I'll also share with you a bunch of slides that you can follow on my profile later. I will share the entire slides that I've created for this session actually, but we didn't
Sure.
want it to be very presentation-ish. So we're actually having a bit of a conversation. So later I will share with you the actual links to other things that you can use. There's also something else. These are the three fun technologies you can use. But the other things that you can use, hi Siva, like for example, Jeopardy games. Okay. That is actually very fun. You can come up with, that one is a bit more detailed. You can use like definitions, things like that to actually come up with things that are more, you want to find out if they understand methodologies, especially for classes and things like that. So you can use Jeopardy Labs. I will share with you the link later on. Yeah, we
A
do
lot
that
of
a
people,
lot in
a lot of the
college.
gang want to join right
One
now.
of the couldn't get to join.
Okay, we'll do
The
another one
game is
another round, right?
so actually, if you think about it, right, so many people want to join. It's because if we talk about games, right, no matter how old you are, whether you're 20, 40, 60, just take someone to Sunway Lagoon and put them there. We all went together. My father, who's like in his 50s at that time, just went crazy. So we all love games, and we should think about that idea when we are doing it for trainings and also our classes, because people love games. So whether you're 10, 20, 30, 60, you can include games inside. It gets people excited, and also it makes people a bit more competitive, and you're like, oh my god, do I get that answer, even if you know that answer. True, sure, honey. I will send you that email as well through your email. Just remind me.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's one of the fun technologies. If we have a bit of time, I don't know, Biasa, if we have some time, I want to
We have,
actually
we have, we have.
mention a few other things you can do. Of course,
Sure
this is
thing.
going beyond our three fun technologies, because to be honest, there's so much more from there.
Yeah.
Maybe I want to actually introduce to you some things that we can actually use. If you guys are all familiar with using Zoom, I believe. All right.
Yes, very
So
much.
maybe I want to share with you some of the things that you can actually use. I will just show you the screenshot of it. I believe Vyasa is coming up with a session, to a free session to explain how we can use Zoom more interactively. For now, I'll just show you the picture to give you a bit of an idea. Maybe you
Yeah.
can join that session later on to see how it works live, right? So for now,
Yeah.
I'll just show you the picture. So sometimes when we are especially for opening of a session, right? You want to do a session and get to know everybody, right? So this goes back to that opening section again, right? So how do you get everyone to know each other and kind of participate? So besides that number game, there's something else that you can do. This also I learned from Mark Collard, okay, which I thought was really amazing. I just watched one of his sessions. I'm going to share the screen with you now. Let's look at this. Okay. Can you see this? Let me
Okay, just hold on a second. Let me just add this in. Okay. Yeah.
Okay, so sometimes when you guys are using Zoom or Cisco, any one of these platforms, right, you have that annotation button, especially in Zoom, right? And what you can do is you can just put a blank map of the world, depending on where your audiences are from, or maybe Malaysia. What you can see is actually Malaysian map, and get people to, if you see the heart shape, that's one of the stamps you can use on Zoom. Okay, but in Zoom you just have to be careful that some of the Zoom features you actually have to go to the web where you register your settings, right, and actually make changes to the settings. If not, you won't be able to see many of the settings there. So you can just use this love shape stamp to get them to kind of post everywhere here where they are from. So it's kind of exciting. Maybe I can see like, wow, you know how we get excited. I don't know about you guys, but if I know someone is from, like, I'm from Teluk Intan. I don't know if anyone else is from Teluk Intan here. So like if I see someone on the map like Perak, I'll be like, yes, Perak people, you know. you get excited when you see people, or sometimes it's exciting, right? You see like, wow, there's someone from Ghana, you know, there's someone from maybe Togo, there's someone from China, you know, you get excited when you see people from different places. Hi, Fariza. So I think one thing which is exciting that you can actually look at is using this annotation software. So when you use the annotation software, this is something like how it look like. Can you see the heart there? So I'm like around somewhere near Ipoh. My geography is not
Okay.
fantastic, so
Right,
excuse me,
right, right.
somewhere around here. Just close by to Ipoh is where I'm from, right? So you can get people to kind of connect with the stamp that you can use via Zoom. So maybe next session we can talk about how to actually use it. I can show you step by step the ways in using it. Okay.
Okay.
Another thing that I also want to share with you is the use of polls. Have you all ever done polls before? You actually do polls in Zoom, but unfortunately, you can't use the free version for Zoom to do polling. You have to use the paid version. The paid version is not so much; it's about 14 something USD. So for those of you who are doing training as a vocation, I think it's a good sum of money to actually invest in. It's not that much monthly to actually invest in something like this, because in the free Zoom, you don't get the webinar option. So this comes under the webinar option. But I use another system under Inti, which we call Blackboard Collaborate, which is where I'm showing you this screenshot from. Is from one of my students actually running a presentation, right? So it's not just you, but you can get the people in your session to present. Okay,
Mhm.
like you can do a whole session on how to present or do a training interactively, and that's what the session that you see here is about. So they got someone to do an external test, and then we checked what are people's scores. All right,
Mhm.
so that's one way you can do that, okay, using these polls. And another thing is interactive whiteboard. Okay,
In
so
Zoom, they have this.
yes, they have this as well. Okay.
Wow.
The interactive whiteboard, or they call it a whiteboard. They just call it the
Mhm.
simple whiteboard, right? On Zoom.
Mhm.
In different locations, they call it different things. Okay. But
Right.
generally, the idea is like this. This is from one of my sessions where I was doing a training for International University staff, and we were
Right.
talking about how to cope to cope when you talk about stress, right? Working from home, right? How do you cope? And is it a bad emotion to have to be stressed? So you can see all the answers here that they actually gave me. They said, you know, I don't believe everything until I validate, so I don't get so stressed when they talk about the news. Some people said they think it's normal. No, it's okay. It's natural. So people had different opinions. So if you want people to write what their opinions are, sometimes people are shy to voice it out via video. They don't want to like come on screen, or they don't want to use their voice. They're afraid. But this way, you can kind of get unfiltered versions of what people think, you know, and
Right.
really go to the basics. A lot of people will share things like the last 2 weeks or so. I teach a professional development class. What they've been doing is doing trainings. This is linked to the conference that we had, and they're doing trainings to actually show me what they've learned, but they need to do it interactively. So some of the snapshot you've seen is actually from my class. Students doing presentation, not just me. They are presenting, but it's no longer a one-way presentation. They get their
Mm.
classmates to react to it as well. Okay, so
Right.
I think it's, let me just stop sharing. I think it's very important to actually include that whole element of sharing, taking into account things are not perfect, guys. We are online, yes. Some of us are very blessed. Those of us on LinkedIn, especially, we are considered middle classes. So we have
Mm.
access to technology very easily. Some of them are just using data. So it's going to be hard for them to use certain features. So video might be hard. You know, they might only be able to use audio. Sometimes even audio is hard. So typing is
Yes.
easier. So using
Yes.
that whiteboard gives more options to different people to use, especially if you're running classes and you can't get them to go on video. Another
Mm.
good option is using this whiteboard. And trust me, they'll be extremely honest because
Mm.
no one knows what and who is writing. It's anonymous, right? So you have a bit
Mm.
of that feel. And I think
Mm.
that's really cool as well because you can be completely honest, especially for trainers doing training on things like emotions, how to deal with your the inner you, mental health, those kind of things. This might be very, very useful, I feel, for people, right, to use that. Any
Right.
questions?
Right. Right. Yeah.
So
So again, friends, if you have questions, feel free to drop it anytime during this conversation. There will be a small lag, about 1 minute, half a minute, or 1 minute. So just give us a little bit of time. We'll be chatting of other things first, and then we'll get back to your question. Right?
definitely,
Okay.
definitely.
Yeah.
One more thing I really want to emphasize on, I think during the Kahoot session, I asked
Yes.
one question, right? I don't know what you all answered. I talked
Mm.
about what is the most interactive thing you can do, right?
Mm.
Something to that extent, and the answer was actually interactive activities, right? So
Mm.
the some of the answers I gave for slides, videos. So a lot of you might say, "Hey, why is videos not interactive?" Doesn't make
Mm.
sense, right? It's visual, right? It's
Mm.
audio, right? It must be exciting one. But imagine now for Vyasa show, we play a
Yeah.
video that lasts for like 10 minutes.
I think a lot of people will be going offline already immediately.
Because you've disengaged them completely, right? So you
Yeah.
can use videos, but use shorter videos, and the video must have a purpose. You don't show it for the sake of showing it. You must link
Mm.
it with what you're trying to say. So in one of my classes, we are studying something as people would say very dull and
Right.
dry. I
Right.
teach media ethics. Okay, so when you talk about ethics, we want to look at different theories and how we can use it. So what we did was we actually showed an advertisement. I'll show it to you right now, but I don't want to
Yeah.
show you the entire advertisement. I'm just going to show you a short snippet of it. And what
Okay.
can you do from there? Is that okay, Vyasa?
Sure.
Can I?
Sure. Sure. Sure thing. Please.
Okay, I'm just going to share that ad.
Okay. So meanwhile, friends, please again, if you have any questions or if you're especially if you're trainers or teachers, and you have some questions for Cheryl, some of the challenges you face during teaching, just drop it by here. Yeah. So Cheryl will definitely be dropping the emails on the info on the slides and all later on in the show. So right, just while waiting for Cheryl, I just want to share something. In either end of next week or the following week, we'll be doing a longer session, a lot more detail, and it's again free, totally free. We because trainers need to know how to present well, so this is the best chance to share all this info out there, right? We'll be going detail on Padlets, Plamio, Cheryl. I saw some facial expressions there. Uh,
I'm
okay,
sorry,
and a lot.
my screen is kind of jammed. I think you can hear me, but
Yeah, don't worry, take your time, right? So and also like things like certain things in Zoom, a lot of things in Zoom, features in Zoom that we don't normally use, we can actually use it. Cheryl will be going through some of them later on in I think probably. Cheryl, have you got some dates already, either next week and or the following week?
yeah, yeah, most probably on the 8th, but
8th
I'll
of
get,
8th of May, right?
yes, most probably on the 8th.
Friday. Yeah, we are looking forward to that because I think this is a great way to sort of add value during this time on how to use the different tools effectively.
Okay. Okay, you might lose me for a short while, yeah?
No problem. It's okay. It's all right. Oh yeah, Cheryl is frozen there. 8th May 2020. That's right. Okay. 8th May. That's right. Cheryl, if you hear me, you can always come in back again, yeah? So 8th May is the most likely date for our extended training, okay, on how to use all the various platforms to promote interactivity, okay, during this time. So we'll be talking a lot more on Kahoot. And if trainers, you have some, like, okay, Cheryl's in back again. Let me just see.
Sorry about that.
Okay, I need to
Sorry, guys.
remove
Sorry
the
about
old
that.
you.
I think too
No,
many, tabs on.
apps.
That's my biggest
Yeah,
thing. I
yeah.
have too many tabs on because I've got Facebook, I've got LinkedIn, I've got Kahoot. So I'm just closing all those tabs.
Okay,
I was just checking Padlet. There's a lot of interesting things on Padlet that has gone on since we left it earlier.
okay. Oh, you mean the previous one?
Yes, I will
So
show it to you as we're ending.
there's a lot
I
of
just done that
interaction
one.
going on, ongoing, while we're
Yes,
talking here.
ongoing. So that's the thing which is very cool about that. Later on, you can always look back. So I've got back the screen that I wanted for earlier that I
Okay,
wanted to show you all the video.
sure thing.
Let's hope and pray it works well. I'm going to start sharing it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's try again. Fingers
Okay,
crossed.
okay.
Share audio. Because I'm actually using Canva.
Canva,
Canva
okay.
presentations are actually very cool for those of you who've not used it before.
Oh yeah, today I found something like so crazy because like Canva, I've been always using it for posters. By the way, Canva is a free,
Tool.
is something like Illustrator, but
Yes,
something a lot simpler. So I use it for a lot of my posters and all, and it's free. Okay, so
yes,
but Cheryl said something today that you can even do presentations like with videos and all. That blew
yes.
my mind. Okay, want to
Yeah.
see
So
this one.
you can actually, if you can see the screen, it's actually a screenshot from one of the classes where I was teaching media ethics, and I was trying to explain to them one of the cases.
Okay,
Okay. And I'm going to share that right now. I'm going to play it. This is a very short clip.
okay.
Okay, so just to provide some context to what that was about, right? So that's
Mm,
actually a very famous Pepsi ad, okay,
okay.
which became very controversial. It was during the context of the black movement, the Black Rights Matter movement in
Right, right,
America.
right,
So
right.
suddenly, Pepsi came up with this very people considered it to be insensitive ad that
Okay,
showed that Kylie. Kendall Jenner just came out and brought some Pepsi to the policeman and everything was fine. So people thought
okay,
it was very insensitive and
okay.
it kind of trivialized the matter, right? So
Yeah.
my students were looking at it. I was showing them as a case to kind of understand how do you understand ethics and what are some things to explain. And we're using this theory called TAS, right? So I just want to show you what was the outcome of that. And what we used is what we call an interactive whiteboard that I used on Blackboard Collaborate. Let me just show you very quickly. So after that video, I tried to get them to actually write on the whiteboard. I don't know if you can see it yet. Can you see it, Biasa?
Yeah, I can. The whiteboard,
Okay.
right?
Yes.
Yellow and white background.
Yes. So TESS, this is actually a screenshot from my class. TESS is actually one of the elements you look for in terms of to find whether it's ethical or not. Does it follow the ethical standards when you're coming up with an advertisement? So it looks
Right,
at truth, authenticity, respect, those kind of things, right? So I
right.
just got students to explain to me based on that ad, right? They actually drew it. They actually wrote all of this. So you can use the text. You can see above there's text, eraser. You can come up with a rectangle. You can, move the text around as well
Mm,
and actually erase. You can use different fonts. So it makes it's like doing, like writing on the whiteboard, basically. Okay.
okay.
So immediately from that video, they can actually write anything that they feel. So this way you can get them to engage instead of it being a one-way communication where I show the video, I explain it, and then I move on.
That's
So
very one way lah. And this
Yes,
one is
that's really
something
one
like
way.
we get the students to engage and do something during the class together.
Correct, correct. Not just that, as they comment, you can actually ask them questions right on the board and ask them questions like, why do you
Mm,
say that, right? You say it's fine, it's not a big deal. Why do you say that? Or if you say it's disrespectful, why do you say that? Hi, Mala. Nice to see you as well. All right. So you can use, I believe you can use different kind of elements in order to kind of engage your audiences, right? So you have the whiteboard, you have the polls, you have the another thing that I don't want to go too deep into it, but we will go through it. The following session is breakout groups. Hi, Moihan. Nice to see you. I was just thinking of you, Moihan. We were talking about internships and you just came into mind. I'm supposed to contact you actually. I will be contacting you soon, right? And
law of
we,
attraction.
yes, definitely. So I think it's very important for another thing that you can actually use on these respective platforms like Blackboard Collaborate. We have something called breakout groups. I love it. Absolutely love it. Why? You know, in Zoom, you have everyone together in the same room. So
Yes.
it's going to be a little difficult to understand. That's why the next session will really help. But just to give you a bit of an idea, just to something like a teaser, yeah.
Yeah.
So imagine we are all sitting in the living room. It's a common area, right? So
Hmm.
currently, all of us sitting in the living room during a Zoom session.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, what we're going to do is I'm going to put someone in the master bedroom. I'm going to put someone in the first room. I'm going to put someone in the second room. So
Okay.
everyone goes to their respective rooms. But me, as a host or the trainer, I can decide to move from room to room. Okay. And it's fantastic if you're giving them an activity. So imagine a physical group, you breaking them into groups. Okay. And imagine you can break people, you can assign them manually as well as you can also assign them automatically. You can just say, I want to break up into 5 groups. You can click it on Zoom as well as Blackboard Collaborate and put them into 4 5 rooms maybe and get them to discuss something. And you, as a moderator or trainer or facilitator, can go from room to room to see what they are discussing. This way, it becomes easier for them to discuss because
Wow.
you're putting them in a way a physical location, right? Online, right? So same thing, it works like you're doing a group session live physically. So this is online. And then when they're done, they just have to leave the room and come back to the living room, which is the main room.
Right.
Okay.
Is
I'll
it
just
is this Blackboard collaborator available in Zoom?
Blackboard Collaborate is under Blackboard, the
Okay.
platform. So it's
Okay.
not the same platform, but you have certain functions you can also find on Zoom as well.
The same
And
fun. Okay.
yes,
Got it.
yes.
Got it.
And it's free. That's the best part. Only polling is not free on Zoom. Okay. But
Okay.
breakout groups you can actually see. I'll just show you what it looks like, right? Just to give you a bit of an idea. Maybe you'll be a
Yep.
bit
Yeah.
clueless of what it looks like on Zoom. Let me just share my screen.
Sure thing.
I don't know if any of you have actually used it before, but I think it's really cool. One of my
There, there,
favorite options.
there are a lot of things like when I discuss with my fellow trainers and all, there are a lot of things within Zoom that we're not really using yet.
Yes, yes.
Mm.
So if you look at the screen, right? I don't know if you can see 3 people there. That's not for my
Yeah.
class. I just took it randomly, yeah. So these
Okay.
3 people have been put into one group. So what they can do is similarly to what I can do as a host. So I will give them certain, maybe I can give them the option in Blackboard Collaborate, you give them the option as a presenter or as a
Mm.
moderator. So here
Mm.
you let them play around with the tools, share their screens, use the whiteboard, get them used to it. So if you want them to present anything later, they will know how to present it and how to use those interactive tools. So what you
Right.
are doing is empowering them as participants to kind of test out how it's like to be a moderator or host and present their ideas. So this is where the last question in the Kahoot, which is audience, you learn better by creating rather than consuming. So
Right.
this way, especially for trainers, right? You all like to do a lot of activities. I think
Yes.
this would be great. So you still get them to apply the techniques, the strategies that you actually want them to apply and get them to actually use it. And I think that's really, really fantastic. If you this is one of my favorite things when it comes to Blackboard Collaborate, and that's why I think I have to be very, very thankful to Inti for introducing us to Blackboard Collaborate. It's usually when your university or your organization makes you learn all this training, you're like, oh my god, why are they making us learn all these things? But it's amazing because when MCO hit, we were all ready.
Wow.
You know,
It
we
just
were
just the right
ready.
timing.
Yes, one thing Inti I don't give praise very often, but where is due? I think Inti did a fantastic job with his online learning, and
Right.
Azlina, the corporate learning team's director, she's a good friend of mine as well, is fantastic.
Right.
So just to answer Santa Kumaran's question, right? That's how
Mm.
you do group activities online using those breakout groups.
Breakout
Okay,
groups.
that's
Yeah, that'll
how
be really cool actually. Breakout
yeah,
rooms and all. I think, and we also need to learn how to master it
yes,
properly during the training time. What, not just for the sake of breakouts, but just
yes,
what's going to happen in each breakout room and how to
yes.
coordinate each the different rooms and all.
I think the most important thing is not just about the tool itself, right, guys? Even if we have all the tools in the world, it's like if you speak to photographers, some photographers have the most amazing lens, but they can't take
Yeah.
a decent photograph.
Right.
Okay, no offense to some photographers out there, but sometimes you see them with the most basic capabilities and they take better photographs than those who have the most awesome. And it's not because of anything. If you can if you're a facilitator that's willing to learn, you master, like Ibiasa said, right? Master the technologies, master the software, and you cannot run away from that physical aspect of knowing your audience. You need to know what makes them tick. Some of them might not be too comfortable with all these online stuff. So how can you make them more comfortable adding certain elements of physical, right? So even when you break them into groups, you can still use pen and paper, right? You
Yeah.
can, but if they want, they will think of it like, wow, very simple. I can just illustrate this point so easily. You can get
Mm.
them to share their screen. You can get them to share an image, share a video. But I think end of the day, it's instructions which has to be very clear. And this is something I've learned through trial and error with my students as well, right? Sometimes you put them into breakout rooms and they're like, what am I supposed to do? They have no idea. So it's good to also leave the question there on the chat, okay, as well as go, even though you've given the assignment or the question or the activity in the main room, once you put them into the breakout rooms, it's a good idea for you to go from room to room to check on them. It's like when we do
Mm.
class activities, it's not chill time for lecturer to chill and drink some coffee. It's not. It's time for you to walk around, check if everyone is doing all right, guide them. Don't give them the answers, guide them, facilitate. So I think
Mm.
that's a good way of doing group activities. And the resources I've given you earlier, the Premium, for example, will give you
Mm.
more ideas of what kind of group activities you can do as well. What can you
Mm.
add to make it maybe more interesting, right? And
Mm.
another aspect that, if we have a little bit more time,
We
yes,
have, we have,
yeah,
we
if we
do.
have some time, the flip. Have you heard of the flip strategy? A lot of us
The
lecturers use it. The
flip.
flip approach.
Let me
The
just
flip,
flip approach. Huh?
FLIP, flip. Okay. So the
Okay.
flip approach, the idea is to actually make the students, the teachers, and vice versa, or make the trainees the trainers. Okay. So the
Mm.
whole idea is to give them something that they need to come and present. So instead of you teaching it first, you get them to do something, and in practice, they're learning something, but they might not do it accurately or the best way. That's where you come in to facilitate. That way, they're not consuming, they're creating. So as they're creating, you can point them to the right direction. So this way, they will learn better, they will remember better. So we've done flipped classroom concept. I've done it since 2009, right? So, but it's also kind of creating that mindset that, because as a trainer, right, people are paying money for you to do the
Yeah.
training. So you have to
Yeah.
be very careful with how that activity adds value. As a lecturer as well, students will be like, I came to class for you to teach me or for me to teach you. All
Mm.
right. So when you do this flip, I think it's very useful. They learn very fast. But what you can do, I used to do it for presentation skills class for working adults. So my students sometimes are older than me. Okay. Some of them are much older. So when you get them to present, when they are doing that presentation that you're asking them to do, you cannot tune off. You need to be very aware of what's happening and explain to them how is it that you can apply these strategies now to make that presentation better. Just say you're teaching presentation skills. So when they're presenting, you add those elements so they understand, because they're doing and learning, right? Learn by doing. And this is not a
Yeah.
new concept. It's not an online concept. It's an educator. I think that any educator needs to learn, right? And I don't know about you guys, but for me, I learn by doing, right? And there's so many different software that you can use. If you're doing live streaming as well, there's Lightstream, there's StreamYard, multiple, there's OBS, depending on your level, how advanced you are. So many free options as well. It's just a matter of us being open to the idea. And I think with online learning, a lot of people are just kind of closed up to the idea. They don't want to do it. And, MCO is extended yet again. So,
Yep.
we can't rely on things going back to normal. I think
Yeah.
we have to open up our minds and realize that online learning is here to stay. Even if MCO is,
Done.
end 12, it's still going to be something that all our companies are going to think of implementing if they haven't, because you never know when something like this is going to happen again. As well as, why not use the benefit of online learning, right? You don't have to use
Yeah.
it completely. Now we don't have a choice, right? But when
Yeah.
you go back to the new normal, so to say, we still need to include this in. And for those of you who are maybe at a different age group that are not used to this online learning, I would say don't be afraid and
Mm.
just try it. And if you are clueless, ask me. I'm always willing to help. Ask me. I will try my best to explain it in the most simple manner possible. I'm always willing
Okay.
to help. Just drop me a
Let
message.
let me plug in your LinkedIn and Facebook contact, right? So for everybody's benefit. Okay, so Cheryl Witha is connectable through LinkedIn and Facebook also under Cheryl Witha. Um, and later on, we will also connect. We'll put the comments under the in the comment section, right? Okay. Let me
Any
just
question?
get back. Yeah, and drop by your questions again, because this is the time where we are going to finish the show sometime very soon. So you can drop by your questions so that Cheryl can answer, some of the last few questions. Okay. In the meantime, Cheryl, would you be able to? Yeah, I wanted to ask you this question. What are you lecturing in Inti?
Oh, before that, I think Amina asked the question. I noticed. She said,
Oh,
"What's that black thing?" It's actually my pop filter. I don't know if I can show you.
okay. Why don't you
It's a
show
pop
them?
filter.
That's a good one. Yeah, because this is
It's a
cool.
pop filter.
It's very good for online teaching. The voice is very good there.
Yeah, it's actually a mic. All right,
Mic,
can you see that? It's a mic with a pop filter.
can you just take it out? Yeah. So that's the
Yeah, that's
actual
the
mic,
mic.
and then the
And there's a
pop
holder
filter.
holding it, of course. And
Mm,
this is the pop filter, so it makes your audio much clearer.
right.
I bought it a long time ago, but I use it mostly to sing.
Oh,
It's one of
sing.
my hobbies to
Okay.
sing. Yeah, I sing off and on, but I still don't have the guts to put it out there. So
Right, right, right. So
for
now
now,
there you go.
that's why I bought it. Yeah, and then so it's really cool. It's
Yeah.
really worth the investment. I bought it really cheap on Lazada actually, Amina. Uh, it was only about, I think the original price was 600, 500. I can't remember, but I believe I bought it for about 350 or something like that, maybe lesser, with the pop filter, the mic, and that whole arm as well, which is really a good price because usually the mic itself costs that much.
Yeah,
So
it's
yeah,
Audio Technica is quite an expensive mic, from what I know.
yeah.
Okay, so wait, Sangita says, "Cool, I love to sing." Okay, Sangita, please get in touch with Cheryl on the pop filter part. Okay, so and Muihan has asked a question: Can we use Blackboard collaborate on Zoom or Microsoft Teams?
Blackboard Collaborate is actually a system on its own. It's
Okay.
like using Zoom, it's an equivalent to Zoom. So if you're using Blackboard Collaborate, you don't have to use Zoom already. Does that make sense? Like
So it's a
it's a
whole learning
version,
system by itself.
it's a learning system by itself. It's a, what do you call it? They call it LMS, right? It's a learning
Okay.
management system, Blackboard. But what we are
Okay.
using is called Blackboard Collaborate Ultra, to be very
Mm.
specific. Because
Mm.
Blackboard Collaborate is like the first version. Blackboard Collaborate Ultra is what I'm currently using, right? Let me just
Right.
type it in.
Yeah. Uh,
Blackboard Collaborate Ultra. Maybe Anand can help share that. Okay.
yeah.
So Madhu says that blended learning is the way forward. I completely agree. I completely agree. We've been
What do you
doing it
mean
for
by
a while.
blended learning?
Okay, blended learning is, it mean, blend, for you to
Mm.
blend two things together. So from
Mm.
your physical classes, you blend it online. So there's a connection between
Okay.
your offline and your online classes. So say for
Mm.
example, I go into class and I ask them to maybe discuss a particular case. Okay, and
Mm.
we don't have that much time in class because there's a
Yeah.
limitation, have
Yeah.
syllabus to finish. So then, and then I saw a very interesting question, but
Mm.
and
Joanne.
then we bring it uh, to an online platform where we can discuss further. All right, Ashwina, it really depends on what's the word, interpretation of what can sing means.
Ashwina asked whether Miss Cheryl can you sing?
I don't know. We'll have to see one
maybe
day, right? We'll have
maybe
to
you
see
can
one.
do a short demo here later.
Ooh. I'm don't let looks deceive you, okay? I seem very confident, but when it comes to singing, I'm terrified. I'm very scared. So
Okay, the question is how much does Blackboard Collaborate Ultra cost?
oh, that part I'm not too sure. I can
Okay,
ask for you because that is actually the institution's
using that
software
software.
that we are actually using. We've been using it for quite a number of years, and I believe we have a package because we use it for the entire university. All our
Okay,
campuses use Blackboard Collaborate. So I
okay,
think
yeah,
it comes
that
with the LMS system, and then depending on which package you choose as well. So if you
got
want,
it.
I can find out from our corporate team. Who asked that question, Vyasa? Was it Mohan?
That one is okay. Someone in LinkedIn earlier. Okay, probably we can post it down later on lah.
Yes, and
Right?
just let
Yeah,
me
you
know
can
so
ask.
maybe I can connect or they can message me on LinkedIn and I can ask my colleagues who are running the teaching and learning team. But
Sure, sure.
usually, most of this software, you also have other software like Raptivity, things like that that can add questions, very interactive questions, but those software costs quite a bit. So it really
Okay,
depends on how actively, if you are actually creating courses, like imagine if you're going to do an online course from
right,
scratch, like in
right.
Inti, I've personally worked with the e-learning team to create an entire program, degree
Mm,
program for a particular subject online. So if you're going to do things like that, then I say it's worth the investment because it's not
okay.
like 1 2 thousand.
Mm,
It's way more than that, right?
yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
I can get the prices from you from a corporate team to find out.
Sure.
Yeah,
Okay, okay, that'll be good. So and then Joanne said I can film mukbang with the mic.
you can feel
Mukbang,
what
mukbang. Joanne, I think you gotta just let us know
mukbang.
what is mukbang. Okay.
This is young people's terminology. I'm not that young, I guess.
Okay, I think it's got. I know something got to do with. I think it's a game, right,
Eat
Joanne?
feast.
Okay.
Ah,
I mean, we'll wait for Joanne's answer later on.
you eat a
So,
bunch of food and talk. Oh my god.
oh,
The crazy things people
it's a
do online.
challenge, is it? It's a challenge. It's a challenge. Okay,
Then you
Anand
should
said
check
that
me out
eat a
during
bunch
lunch.
of food and talk, and that's mukbang.
But
Okay.
it's not a challenge, so you do it for fun. It's like watching video gamers. What's the guy's name? PewDiePie. You just watch him playing video games. I have no idea why. Maybe it's a young people thing. It's just something people do. I don't get it. Maybe my age is not to that. It's a thing. Agree,
There's
agree.
a whole different thing there going on
Yes,
there. And
yes, definitely.
it's a thing. Anand said it's a thing people do. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we got to check it out. What's Anand
Toss.
said, Vyasa, come, let's have mukbang with Tosei. Okay. All right. Eating show. Joanne said it's an eating show.
So next time
Okay.
we have, yes, sir, you probably good a new idea for you to do an eating show.
Facebook conversations with Vyasa. Conversation that matter. Then we just keep eating, 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 eating. Okay. So, yeah. Okay, we got another request, serious one, on showcase your singing talent, Miss Cheryl. I think you seriously I got to do that one of the live shows.
Tracy, the name of the show is Three Fun Technologies for Online Teaching. So I'm trying to be as structured as possible. So don't stray me away from my purpose.
Okay, so Cheryl, do you have anything to share before we finish? I think maybe you can just drop in some of the, any of the technologies that you found interesting, and then we can have it on another show on the 8th of May on Friday. Okay, so this is the tentative date for the show with Cheryl. Again, this time we do a lot more detail and probably it'll be in Zoom. Going to be like 2 to 3 hours where we go right down to the detail. All right, and it's a free one, so no need to worry. You just have to just register lah. Okay. And then Jeopardy games. Cheryl, if
Play
you
Factile. Play Factile is a Jeopardy game that you can
okay,
actually create. That's
okay.
another option for gamification. Bye, Moihan. No problem.
Mohan has got another show at 6.
Yeah,
Uh,
Mulhan is busy, busy, busy,
yes,
which is always good, I think.
his show is The Elephant in the Room. Okay.
Yes, I think that's pretty awesome. The kind of topics he's talking about. I think he's
Yeah,
talking
yeah,
about unemployment today, which is
yeah.
actually quite exciting.
Very, very
There's
interesting.
there's
His
another
topic
link
is correct.
actually.
Yeah.
Ah, there's another link that I want to share that talks about remote learning that you can
Okay.
find all the links. One of it, I'm just going to share it here with Anand, so you can
Okay.
share it with the rest of them. It's actually turned up on my feed today, which has a
Mm-hmm.
lot of the things that I talked about today as well, and
Mm-hmm.
more. So Play
Okay.
Factor can be used for like Kahoot is very basic level, right? So Play Factal, actually, you can do a lot of things with it. You can come up with like definitions. You can use Quizlet, for example, to come up with like cards on different definitions, like what is mental health, what is emotions, what is like different terms you learn, like in organization behavior. That is more like academic side. But
Mm-hmm.
even if you want to play with different terms as well, you can use Quizlet. Okay, uh,
Quizlet.
Quizlet,
Okay.
Quizlet. I believe it's in that link that I just sent as well. Quizlet.
Quizlet, huh? Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
Play Factor. You have quite a number of these softwares. It's just a matter of how much you can use based on their free versions.
Okay.
But what is the most easiest to use as well? Same like the live streaming platforms, right? It depends on how well versed you're with tech, how fast you want to do it. Because some of it, it actually requires you to have a bit of learning. So like the Jeopardy games, it's not as easy as Kahoot. You just type it in. It takes a little bit more of preparation.
Okay.
Okay, and then you can use something called wheel games. If I'm not mistaken, it's called wheel games.
Meal
So
games.
wheel, WHEEL, wheel games.
Wheel games, huh? Okay.
Real name, sorry, my bad.
Wheel names.
Yeah, so wheel of names. So that one, wheel of names, not games, sorry. Wheel of names, for example, if sometimes when you go for trainings, people want to choose groups and things like that, or who's gonna answer next. You don't know
Yeah.
who it is, so you can play something like Wheel of Fortune. Last time it goes around, but except
Yeah.
it's with people's names, so you can
Oh,
click
okay.
on the
Okay.
wheel, and then it will say, okay, Vyasa is supposed to answer. So
Right,
it's a
right, right.
fun way of getting people to answer.
Got it.
So that's another option as well. Yeah, so there's a lot more to that, but if you look at the link I sent earlier, the
Nomium.
nomium.com, yeah, nomium
Nomium. Okay.
radical remote, that one has a link of many different types as well that you can use. There's Google Classrooms. If you want to have a space or platform to use, especially for educators, you can use it free if it's attached to your institution.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of those platforms or games. There's a lot of gamification techniques that you can use. A lot of us are trained. I think another lecturer that does this very actively is Putri. She does a lot of augmented learning, and for the most, like, you will never imagine, for law. All right, so
Mm-hmm.
that is just proof that you can take any subject. Like I'm teaching ethics. Ethics
Mm-hmm.
is as dry as possible, as well as I'm teaching com research, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I teach professional development. So these elements can actually help make your class more interesting, can make your training more exciting. You can
Mm-hmm.
play around with all these different options. So it's just a matter of you kind of trying, but too much of anything is also not good. So
Yes, yes, yes.
don't
Then
overdo it.
it's
Yeah.
like then it become all games and no teaching, right?
Yes. So
Okay.
understanding how it relates to each other, there's a lot of, if you want to have your games connected to what you're trying to teach, you have to really plan ahead and ensure that the content can be fun at the same way, still get them to learn something. Like my class, if you ask of them, I part of our learning activities before MCO, going for movies.
Mm.
So,
Wow.
but we can relate it back to, actually, I can take anything and relate it back to movies, right? Because we are in communication. So, a lot of
Yes,
learning
yes.
aspects. So, sometimes we just learn about things like movie credits for introduction to mass comm, right? Or we look at,
Right.
recently, we looked at Spirited Away, that movie that won some awards, I think in early
Yes.
2000. I think it's a Japanese movie, if I'm not mistaken, right? So
Mhm.
you can even look at those kind of movies and analyze it. So in communication, you can actually use many tools in order to make it more interesting as well. So it really depends on you as a facilitator. But
Mm.
what I would say at the end of the day is just don't give up and try. And don't have to learn like 15 technologies in one day. Just try one. Try
Yeah.
one, just one.
True. True. True.
Micro steps. Try one, and try it in your next training. If it works, try it in your next training. Then soon you're going to be an expert. It's going to
Yeah.
be so easy for you. And to be very honest, that's how I learn. I learn new
Right.
technologies every day. You just have to have a willingness to want to learn. And if
Mm.
you get lost, come and find me. Even if I've never used that technology before, I will learn.
Mm. Okay. Super. All right. So, anything else you'd like to share, Cheryl? We are coming up to the end of the show, everyone. If you want to, just drop by, say your thanks or send your love to Cheryl, just drop it right now. Okay, before we finish the show. Cheryl, do you have anything to share, like uh, before you leave? I think there's one more question from Madhuviran, Madhu, on what LMS platform are you using in Inti?
We use Blackboard.
Blackboard.
Yes.
Okay,
And that's
so
why we also have like different systems. Like previously, when I was in Inti KL, we use Moodle as well because some
Moodle. Yeah,
platforms,
I think I've
Moodle,
heard
yeah.
of that one. Yeah.
Yeah, but that is for our Sydney Business School. That means for MBA. So only for the lectures teaching MBA. But primarily Inti itself, because we are connecting with a different university in Sydney. So it's
Mm.
their platform. So it depends on the program, what kind of program it is. But Inti, generally, all our groups we use Blackboard Collaborate, and I have to say it's really amazing in terms, especially Blackboard Ultra, right?
Right.
It's amazing what it can do, and everything is in that same system. And generally it's very easy to learn, and I think that's one thing very important, because in MCO we want something that is fast. All of us still need to make a living, so we want something that is fast and can help us get on the road immediately, almost immediately. So to learn Blackboard Collaborate is actually very easy.
Okay. Blackboard Collaborate, right? So I think that's something interesting. You definitely want to check that one out also. But I think there's a lot of things you can actually do with the existing platforms like Zoom,
Yes.
with all the these existing ones that we already have, and there are also a lot of free ones, and all a little bit paid a little bit, right? And that also
Yes.
will
How much?
actually do the
15,
trick.
20
Yeah,
USD. So if you're a trainer, then I think it's really worth it for you to do it. Or if something that you want to do long term, right? I think there's a huge market when it comes to online, because especially in Malaysia, not everyone has tapped into it, and even those who have the technology might not know how to interact well. So what's going to put you forward or going to make you someone that is going to stand out among all these trainers, I believe, or educators, is someone who is able to not just cope with the technology but use it very well.
yeah,
I
true.
think that's what's going to make you stand out in the market right now.
Okay, so everyone, thanks for joining the show today. Thank you very much, Cheryl,
No problem.
for being here. Let me just plug in your LinkedIn and Facebook contact so that those who want to reach out to you can always reach out to you. Again, it was super fun. I think I learned a lot today, definitely. And for those who love this show, who enjoyed the show, you can always look back at the recording in our YouTube. You can actually we will plug it in later on in the comment section, our past trainings and also today's talk on in conversations that matter. All right. So with that, we will say bye bye, and
Bye, guys.
adios. I'll see you again.
Stay safe.